you, can you please send the recorded session of day 1 and 2? Techie C, currently I don't have the recorded session of day 1 and 2. Currently they are with the other people, the other Akash, and I think Bhavna has told the class. Okay, I will ask them to get it, but I think today it will not be happening up because they are in some other place. So I will ask them and make sure that it will be updated by tomorrow. Okay, Techie C. Okay, I will be uploading the videos of my today class and day before class also tomorrow because okay, thank you. Tomorrow. Okay, we will see with the wireframe model. First of all, I am trying to teach how the wireframe model is, like how does we think of a wireframe model. Basically, yesterday I have shown you in the paint box like how we design a basic wireframe model. Okay, 1 minute. This is a website I have seen. It has given something about wireframe model. Okay. Okay, beginner's guide to wireframing. He has given here, see, you can see the diagram, like if you want to design something, first you need to think of a wireframe model. This wireframe model helps to think of a div structure. See, first of all, this is the whole, if you can think of this as complete one parent div, inside this there are sub divs, or you can call it as child div. This is a header div, you can think of it as a div. Basically we will be creating a div structure on a whole. Otherwise you can think of a header as body, as footer, as you can give the namings like navbar, sidebar, article, or something like that. Okay, left side bar, right side bar, you can think of giving such wireframe structure. Basically, first of all, we will designing a wireframe. This is also called gridding. This is also called layout structure. We can call it many ways, but the structuring of the element is important. Okay, here you can see first, if you want to create, you need to design something like this wireframe model. You need to think of a design in the wireframe first time, then it helps you to create a div structure. Okay, it is the architecture like this. If you want to create a home like this, this is a smaller divs or sub divs. Inside a div there will be again 3 divs. If you consider this, okay, I will see how to break it up. White pencil, I am going to take the man. See, first how you need to do is you need to break that into pieces. First consider this as a header piece, as one piece, cut it out, and next piece as one div and cut it out. This divs, then you will be writing this as div, header div. Okay, my voice is not clear. Okay, sorry. uh, Sorry, 1 minute please. Sorry, is it clear now? NEC college, is it clear? Vignan Smirla, is my voice clear or no? All the colleges, is my voice clear? Are you getting any disturbance? Okay, let me see, clear. Okay. Other colleges, what about the other colleges? Is my voice clear? Okay, okay, NEC colleges. Yeah, I think sometime it is breaking up because I'm running many applications here. You can see in the down, because I started a Tomcat server. Uh, because I started some servers to show you some real-time examples. I started Eclipse uh, to show you the live project what I have been doing there. So I have started in advance, so not to waste the time. Okay, and there is also a recording session is running up in the back. That's why I think it is taking some time, and some network also, some network issues, so it is breaking up, I guess. Okay, so okay, NEC college. Okay, I will make it a little bit slow. I'm not getting whether labs are given or not, because to make it more hands-on session, I need to know whether labs are given or not too. If there are students, then you need labs. then only they can feel satisfied about what I am teaching. If they want, then I can teach more examples for the hands-on session, so they can do more examples. If your response is good, then I can increase my level of teaching. Okay. Okay, basically you need to think of a div structure. First of all, you need to think of a wireframe. Like if you, okay, we'll create a wireframe instead of trying to make it. Okay, first we need to think of the elements what we need. Then we need to think of a wireframe model. You can use this in the paint box or something like that. First, I'm going to create something called header. If you want header, we will create a header part. Then we need to think of this box structure like this. Like this is the navbar part. Next, if you want your body to be some certain size, or if you want a footer, something like this. If you want a footer, okay. Okay, this is the header part. Basically, this is the header part. Okay, tech college. Okay, okay, this is the header part. This is the navbar part, and this is the body part. Basically, this part. Okay, instead of we will be considered our body. This is the main. We will be considering as the content div. Okay, content. Basically, the content will be going into this large div, and basically below the footer. Basically, the footer and navbar and header will be same for all the pages. So we will be using this instead of creating multiple times. We will be using only once, and only we will be loading this content from multiple pages to a single page. This is called templating structure. First of all, we are creating only wireframe structure. In order to see each page, we need to create this for each page wireframe structure, and to see whether it works or not perfectly. If you understand this wireframe structure, then you can write the divs. First of all, what you do under the body tag, you are going to write this wireframe structure. Like this is a div, header div. You will be dividing this into header div. Okay, I will be writing it, and it is better if I can write in the Notepad or text editors. Okay, I'm taking this off. One minute, please. Structure. Okay. First of all, I'm creating this wireframe structure. How to create a wireframe structure? This is the HTML part, HTML tag. Inside HTML tag, this is a basic structure. You don't need to understand what are the internal details. You don't want. This is the out grid. You can think of this out grid. Internal this structure. Again, there will be substructure boxes. Basically, you will be creating. This is called box structure. You can think of this wireframe as box structure also. Okay, inside the HTML we will be having a head tag, then the body tag. Okay, inside the head tag, basically two elements will be there: the title tag and the script tag, and the style tag. We will also having script tag in JavaScript tag. I said that earlier. Depending upon the requirement, we'll be placing in three before the body, at the opening of the body, or at the ending of the body, or in the head tag. We can place in the two ways, in the head and in the body part. The script part can be placed. Style part will be mostly placing in the head part. Okay. Otherwise, we will be creating a separate files, source files, and we will link that files here. That is called external linking. And I will also show external linking in the Bootstrap and all, because we will be using Bootstrap as external pages. So already we will get Bootstrap min.css, bootstrap.js, and jquery.js. We will be using this all the predefined JS and CSS files. Okay, on the screen, Control Shift. Okay, Vignan Snirla, is it sufficient? Okay, head part. Now what I need to do is I need to create this wireframe structure. Okay, first of all I am creating a header div. It is better if you can give commenting so that you can remember which div is what. And this is the div structure like this. You can box model for understanding this box model. We will be creating a div. You can think of it wireframe. First, I have created a div for the navbar. Like I will be writing here. It is a header. First part is header. Yeah, I have created a command such that this is header. One minute. Okay. Next div. This div is navbar. Generally, navbar can be created in nav element as well as div. Okay, we will think of it as nav element itself. Not div. Now we can take it as div now. Okay, nav element, nav bar. We will place it as save it as nav bar. Okay, I have commented out and save it as nav bar. Next, we have got the content body, and we will treat it as div, and we will say it as content body. Don't think it as the whole body. This is just I am saying content body. Basically, even if you think if you think as this page, this is the whole body. This part is called whole body part. In that again, we will be having header and footer, uh, header and footer, and navbar. This part is not treated as a body. This is the content body. See here also he is saying that as body. Don't think this whole thing body as this content body. Okay. Okay. Where is that? Yeah, it is here. Content body, I'm placing a comment. Content body, you control backslash is the uh, shortcut key for that content body. Next, after this content body, we are going to create footer. You can create a div or you can replace with footer. Depending upon the naming, we will be writing the CSS for that basically. Okay, we will save it as wireframe.html. Okay, I haven't given 1 minute. I haven't given the footer. Okay, this is the basic structure. I'm saying that as wireframe.html. Okay, I'm going to open it. Desktop UI and today's date wireframe.html. Currently, it doesn't have anything because we haven't written anything content inside of it. Okay, I'm going to remove this responsive. Basically, you can see the div structure how it is there, and basically, I will providing some CSS with it so that you can understand. Oh, something. It is treated as something, I guess. Okay, once check it out. Yeah. Okay, see, I'm getting here wrong. I have placed something inside, outside of this. Yeah. You can see what are the difference. It is showing something outside of the footer, and these are showing something like this, but it is not showing. Means I have placed somewhere here. You can see the errors pretty easily like this. If you have used Chrome Developer Tools, yeah, they are pretty good. Dave. Div, nav, div. You were unable to see because we doesn't have anything in the div. Okay, let's create something called padding or something like that. We'll be creating something called padding. Okay. Uh, okay. First, I need to create a background color. Background. not getting it up. Okay, padding equal to 10 pixel. Since why it is going to the main navbar means because for the first part is because I am selecting this first part and testing it out, right? That's why it is giving the color to this element. Okay, margin. Margin. Okay, I want to give some margin so that you can define. Okay, okay, it is showing up right now. The divs are showing up. Margin like 10 pixel. Okay, I will use instead of pixel to the EM to EM. Yeah, some EM is equal to some pixel around 1.8 or something. I haven't remembered. Okay, I will see it later. You will be giving some 4 EM, something like that. Padding. Yeah, we are getting these divs now, right? See, the padding is pretty much margin. If I remove the margin, the both you can't see the div, each individual div elements. I will reduce it to 0.2 or something like just outline you can see. Yeah, basically you will be getting the structure of this, like this wireframe model. You will be getting the structure. You can see the box model structure is coming up, like header, body, footer. Yeah, Techie CE, I think we can use tags for any number of times based on our requirement. Yeah, that's right. Tech, we can use any number of div tags based upon requirement. You need to understand that the div structure is an important thing. Once you got the div structure, you can create substructures of divs inside that substructures, and the substructures go on depending upon the level. Like I will create inside this and the 3 divs and place it side by side. I can or float it to the left or to the right of it. Again, some 3 lines will come, some padding will come, something like that. Here I have created only for the div. That's why the nav is not showing up. Okay, first of all, okay, I will copy the CSS and place it. Mm, okay, you can copy, like you can select this element by going into this part, and I will copy this div part structure because I don't have in the original file. Right, and I will place in the head tag of this script like style. Okay, I'm placing it inside of this. This is for the element whole, whatever the div elements you write, it will be showing the background color this, padding this and margin this. If I write this comma nav bar, nav, because I have also the element called nav, I will refresh it. See, you have got 4 elements now. Even for the nav element I have applied the same. You can write like any number of elements side by side to apply this all these elements. Okay, yeah, we can use footer tag also. Yes, depending upon the naming standard you can use. Generally what the people do is, instead of giving a nav as footer, they give all the divs and use their id as footer, as id as content body, as id as nav bar. Okay, we can see a website something around and check how they has given the naming structure in the divs. Okay, basically they will be giving like, see, div class wrapper loader, div head part, this is the header part, divs, div footer, they have given the footer. See, it depends upon the website builder that's going to create. We can create the name anything, but basically div will be, most of the time it will be placed as div and given some ids or class so that they can bind it to the css as well as javascript, right? See, most of the time divs, you will almost all seeing the divs. You can see the box modeling structure at this end, like if I going to raise this, you will be able to see how the padding is given, margin is given, how it is positioned. Here you can see all the CSS. Here you can see all the event listeners. See, before in the morning session, I have shown you a click event listener. It has for 3 times the click event listener where I don't know, but we will be like a handler function is there for the function A. Each scope is 2 times. Once you get hang of these elements, you will be able to understand where it is used and how the scope of these objects and what are the different elements that are present in the structure. See, I have said about load what we say event listener, something like okay, load object, load function, mouse out, mouse over, mouse setup. See how many things they are using. Resize the object. I said about scroll I haven't said. Okay, there is something also scroll. There are many different objects depending upon there we using the okay, resize, they are using the resize. Okay, once false they have kept passive false. Okay, they have a handler function for that, and the scope is 3 times, something like global closures. Prototype will be by default in every object structure. You will be seeing this proto function that is called prototype function. Apart from this prototype, what are the functions you seeing that are the important ones? Difference, right, Divya? What is the difference between them? Means what? I need a more specific difference between them means what? Uh, okay. Are you able to understand now the wireframe structure? Or you can basically give different coloring to it in order to understand this wireframe structure. Okay, we will write some p tags or a tags inside it to get it more understandable and see how it is wireframe. Then we will make it somewhat responsive. We can make it responsive depending on something called, there is something called a viewport. There is something basically responsive comes only when it changes randomly when you change the browser resolution. Based on the screen size, you need to define your structure. So for multiple screen size, we can use basically there are 2 to 3 elements where that helps in responsive. One is percentage. If you use the percentage, like percentage, it is showing percentage. Percentage wise, if you use it, it is going to make it responsive. And the second one is if you use something like a viewport, it is also making somewhat responsive, not much of it. Generally percentage is the thing. And second is a breakpoint, means this is also the media queries. Creating multiple media queries means breakpoints. Creating multiple media queries for multiple resolutions is called breakpoints. Like here I have shown you, I will show you the CSS media queries for the different elements and screen sizes. You can treat this as all the breakpoints for different screen resolutions, like 1024 pixels I need to write the styles. We need to create for multiple sizes the same styles for different, you need to, okay, uh, there is something, some structures mean, you need to understand that first of all we need to design a model for the smaller devices like phones. First we need to design our layout for the phone structure, then it will be automatically be changed to the web structure. That is the easiest way. In most of the websites you will be seeing that you need to first create your structure inside mobile, because the mobile structure is the one you need to understand it, because once the screen resolution is small, only one element will be sufficient to place it. Use multiple elements will not be sufficient. So think of it as one element. When I expand it, what happens is these two elements also come side by side in the last structure by default. But once you design this tree linearly and go to the smaller structure, you won't be getting that 3 elements linearly, but you will be getting somewhere side. Like it won't be me. Okay, I will be teaching you some other elements by showing it. If I say randomly, you can't understand it. Okay. Okay, there is one concept in the CSS I haven't discussed. The basic name of the CSS only I haven't discussed. What is CSS? That is cascading style sheet. In the CSS part, cascading means there is something, a last term for it. What does the cascading means? Any college can me tell me what is the cascading? CS has has a property called cascading. That's why it is named as cascading style sheet. Basically, style means different padding background. Okay. Then what does the cascading mean? Any college? Can you tell me what does the cascading means in CSS? Any student, you can post it here. Why CSS is named as cascading? Building your developing. No, no TEC. There is a meaning for cascading and it has a structure also. CSS has some property because it has a cascading structure. What happens because, okay, I will teach you, but I need more answers. Any other college? At least try it once. Try doesn't make you bad. Okay. Okay, enabling multiple style sheets to be used on one HTML document. Uh, Somewhat relevant answer. Okay. Cascading colors and animations to the web page and input properties. I'm getting different answers, but I'm not getting any much relevant answer. Multiple style sheets to be used on one HTML element. No. Okay, I'll be telling you what the cascading means, right? Understand, if I have given a first div element like this, arranging in sequence. No, PRAD no, VVID no. Okay, I will tell you what the cascading means. First of all, if you think of this div, okay, let us understand what happens. I am copying the same div, okay, and I am writing it here and changing the color to red. What happens here? I have already given a color called BG, okay, and I am again changing the color to red. What will happen? Can anybody guess? Post in the comment box. Red will be appeared, yeah. Why the red will be appeared? Why? Why? Can you tell me why? Okay, red will be appearing. That's the right college. Why not the BG? Yeah. Looks like by giving instruction. No, KKR and KSR. Yeah. Kite Satyamamchi given the right answer. Last change comes first. Why the last change? That's what is called cascading. The last change, what happens is you can apply the CSS. It is called, let us consider Andhra Pradesh, India, country, worldwide. Like if you think you can apply the properties of India to the Andhra Pradesh to the India, you can apply the properties of India to the world, like something like that. Like what that means if you write something this div and added some more elements, you can add some more elements here. What happens is it will combine this element as well as this element, and it also gives you something that is written down. So the last change comes first. That's the right answer, Satyamshi. Okay, good. That's what the cascading means in CSS. Means you can apply the first property. If you consider this div as the lowest level of property and you have given to the highest level of property, you can combine these both and give a new output. Okay, we'll see what the web says. What does cascading mean in CSS? Cascading means the styles can fall or cascade from one style sheet to another, enabling multiple style sheets to be used on one system element. Okay, okay, Divya, I think some other girl also said the right answer. I was thinking like only element wise, it is also right in some other way. Okay, right. What is happening? Are you able to understand what the cascading means now? Like if you, what is happening means, if you given a style sheet here, because I haven't explained the external style sheet, you have given already a style and again you are giving the style to another one. What is happening is you are cascading this style to this style also. That is what happening here. That is what called cascading. Okay, are you able to understand what the cascading means? If you write multiple style sheets and the last style sheet elements will be mostly reflected. The upper elements which doesn't have the, if the lower element doesn't have that property, the upper element property will be taken. If the upper element and lower element have the same property, the lower property will be taken. See, we will see the output and refresh it. Yeah, it is coming, right? That means this property, this upper property is cascaded to this property. Like you can increase this level of property to the smaller divs or upper divs depending upon the structure it changes. Yeah, HTML also have its name is defined something like that, hypertext markup language. Basically markup means creating left and right brace. If a text is placed in left and right brace, it is treated as treated as sorry, it is treated as marked up language. Okay, colleges, are you able to understand cascading means? You can see multiple websites and know what is cascading. This terminology is pretty important to understand the CSS. Unless you understand cascading, you can't write the CSS in higher levels. Because what happens is when you write the full lines of CSS, what happens is it will be overridden. The upper div, you have written upper div, and when you see writing under div, the upper div part will be overridden and new CSS will be structure will be showing up. Okay, this is something called cascading. Yeah. Okay, most of them has tried up. Okay, thank you. Okay, basic wireframe structure, I think you have understood. I have taken a long time for the wireframe. I think media queries, I have yesterday shown you some example regarding media queries. We will see mostly in the Bootstrap part. By default, Bootstrap has created for every specific device's resolution, they have created the media queries. Every device structure they have created media queries. Just we need to use that call size. There is something called call size. Wireframing, they will be creating a structure. Means what happens is here I have defined a structure. They will be think of a, okay, I will make you explain somewhat. Okay, first I will explain you somewhat about responsiveness. What happens responsive. Okay, first of all we will think of sorry. Okay, okay, header, navbar, body, footer. You have created multiple elements. Uh, okay, header, navbar, content body, footer. Okay, in the header again I am creating sub boxes. That means sub divs you can treat it as, or sub elements you can treat it as, like home, home about. What you need to do is break into substructures and substructures, and if this element has again substructure, you need to break it into substructures, right? Okay. Home about something like FAQs, you can write many tabs depending upon. What happens is it is aligned floated right. Okay, floated right, float left, I think property that is float left. Okay, navbar, you can, okay, we will see, like I have created some elements like this at the some point of time. Okay, these three elements are this part, it is occupying this 1/3 part. Okay, sorry, I'm not getting the right box to the, you can think of this like this. Okay, and I have created a sidebar also, like I have created some boxes, sorry. Okay, if you think of this as a web page that looks something in the higher resolutions, like laptops, like largest screen devices, you can think of Apple desktops. Okay, something like that. If you see for the high resolution devices, uh, it will be something like this. And if you go for the lowest resolution devices, the structure will be changing off. Like something, if I think of this, okay, I will draw white. Okay, first of all, think of this. This is the device side. The navbar will be like this, right? You'll be getting like this some one pop-up box, and after that you'll be getting some pop-up elements like this, and the output will be shown at the center. It will be a more responsive structure. Like okay, next you will be the content body will be minimized something to this device structure, and the footer is also will be reduced, and some parts of the footer might not be disappear depending upon how you write. This will be something, the structure will be changing like this and this depending upon the screen sizes. If it can change depending upon the structure, this is called the responsiveness, or you can treat it as responsive design. Okay, this is something called responsive design. We need to achieve the design structure so that it looks uh, multiple ways. Okay, let's see example how it looks in the, okay, let's see W3 schools, how it looks, the World Wide Web content, right? Okay, it looks something like this in the larger screens, but what happens, see, it has got condensed down something like this. Okay, because the structure is something around a tablet size. You can think of the tablet size, it will be showing something like this. If I reduce to the more to the web to use something like this and responsive to some iPhone or iPad, see the structure change dynamically. This is something more of a responsive side. See, if I increase the screen resolution or change it to something more responsive, you can see the side nav bar here, but you can't see the side nav bar in the iPhone 5. It is changing depending upon the structure because they have defined like this. Okay, how you know they have defined means? I can show you the code also. Okay, basically there will be a CSS. W3 schools uses a CSS style sheet called w3.css. Okay, you can find it here. Click on this link. By pressing Control and clicking on that link, you will go to the W3 CSS. Yeah, I'm using code beautifier. I have an here code beautifier. You can get it in the Chrome, JavaScript and CSS code beautifier. This is a minified version. There will be two types of scripting because minified will be, if you create spaces, the code browser has to read the white spaces also. In order to reduce the white spaces, what they need to do is minify the code. So the code would be looking something like this. If I beautify the code, it will be looking something like this. Okay, see how the HTML box sizing he has given before and after inherit. See MS font kit he has used. Okay, sorry, I will increase the font size. One minute. Okay, my system got little bit slower because I am running all the high level applications. Okay, you can see the different elements how he has styled, like image he has given some property, like figures he has given some property. See, you can see that he has used some EM for responsive design. See, most of the part they will be using some percentage font size is percentage, because depending upon the screen size it is going to change it. You'll be seeing some in the source part, you'll be seeing something called as viewport. Okay, I'll see whether there is something called viewport. Yeah, there is something called viewport meta name. This is important for responsive design. I'm going to copy this line. I'm going to copy this whole line on here. Okay, this line is pretty important for responsive design. For every okay HTML page, this part is going to be in the header part. Okay, I will show you example about viewport also. This is one of the part of the responsive design. I think you even have about viewport also in the content. Okay, in the responsive design also we can we will be having, I will be teaching you about the viewport. What happens if we doesn't have this viewport in the header tag, and how the elements will be aligned if you have the viewport. I think there are many examples in the W3 schools. Okay, I will show you one example without wasting the time for that also. Okay, first we are seeing about the CSS part, like how it is defined. See, for the article part, aside part, details part, menu part, nav bar, he has given a basic, all the elements he has given a basic structure, that is display as block. Basically, we will be defining the elements in the block structure. That is mostly block. You can treat this as block, or you can treat this as something square, rectangle. You can treat something like that. Okay, display inline block. Basically, he was defining the higher for multiple elements. Some he has defined WebKit. Like for Chrome, it will be showing something like this. If you use MS, like something like that. I've said. Okay, what we are trying to see is something. See, he has defined for the all the H1 to H2 tags. These are basically for the text elements. 30 pixel, 36 pixel. They are fixed sizes. Okay. He has applied font family, font weight, and margin also. Okay, mostly if you apply percentages, it will become responsive with 200% table. So it becomes responsive. So he has given the width of the table to 100%. Responsive tables, you can call this as. Okay, I need something called call span. Call. Okay, W3 call percentage. Okay, I will show you something in the CSS part, right? Uh, okay. First of all, I will discuss you about the viewport part. I will show you an example. What happens if you have the viewport, and what happens if you doesn't have the viewport. Viewport example. Viewport example. Okay, I'm removing the two. Okay, I'm removing the port tag. What happened to my HTML? It was doing something. Okay, going to W3 CSS somewhat viewport. Okay, I will reduce the screen size, reset to default, and somewhat increase it. It was reacting slowly. Sorry, 1 minute please. Okay, here you can see setting the viewport is there. In the HTML5, generally we will be using a tag called viewport. For everything you need a viewport. Here you can see how it looks inside of the without the viewport meta tag, and with viewport meta tag he is given an example. Okay, I am going to open this example. See, okay, this is the viewport example. I'll be showing based on resizing the structure. What happens? Okay, inspect, click on inspect element. Okay, now I am resizing the, see, I am resizing the text is going off. See, I am resizing it, but the image is not resizable. See, the image is hiding off. What is happening is it is not scaling on depending upon the screen size. In order to scale depending upon the screen size, we will be using a component called viewport. See, without the viewport meta tag, it is not, the image is not scaling up. It is going to be hidden in the image, so the user has to scroll horizontally to see that image. Basically, in the mobile devices, you won't scroll horizontally. That gives a bad feedback. So we have to create only the screen resolution sizes so that you can scroll vertically. Only the vertical scrolling in as well as the website as well as the mobile, you will be mostly scrolling vertically. You need to understand this all the elements in order to keep the CSS. Okay, once you get hang of Bootstrap, all the tough elements will be handled by the Bootstrap. Only the least part of it is to make use of it. Use the CSS call bits. If you use the, it defines a basic structure. If you use the structure, these all elements will be lined up to you. Okay, see, it is hiding up. Now we will see the responsive design with the viewport tag. Okay, we'll take F12 to resize it. See, it is not hiding up. See, it is resizing. If you use the viewport tag, it will resize the. See, the image is also resizing depending. It is you are not getting the horizontal scroll bar here. Whereas in this example, you are getting the horizontal scroll bar. See what the viewport has the name equal to viewport. What he has given is content equal to width equal to device width. What is happening is the width of this content will be equal to the device width. So it will assume that if the device width is this pixels, then the width of this each element will be this pixel. The content of this width will be this pixel. So it is making that elements to be somewhat responsive. So that's why this image is responsive. And we can give the scaling also. Here initial scale equal to 1, that means he is keeping the scale to the fixation, means it doesn't scale differently depending upon structures. Okay, this part of meta tag is pretty important in the header section. If you are creating a, basically in all the responsive designs you will be finding this meta name viewport. Okay, theory part. Okay, you can try these examples. There is nothing much. An image. Okay, we will see the example. I guess we will see. You can see directly the code also. See, there is nothing much. HTML body, inside the body, without the viewport tag. In the there is no header tag itself. Head tag itself. You can see he has created a paragraph tag. He has created an image tag with some height, specific height and width attributes. These are called the tag attributes. All, if this image doesn't show up, it's going to show you this text. And he has created some lorem ipsum text for this p tag element and close the body. This is not much code. You can see it and test it out. And if you keep the header part, you will be getting the viewport part. Okay, that is somewhat responsive. And basically you need to design, I think here he has given some conventions also. Do not use large fixed width elements. Okay, using CSS media queries. I have said CSS media queries helps to apply for multiple devices. So he is saying to use, so first of all, style for small screens and large screens. I have already said this. Do not let content rely on a particular viewport width to render well. Okay, here viewport width should be 1. That's why he has given the viewport width to 1, because content should not render depending upon the viewport width. Okay, it should render similarly depending upon the viewport width. Do not use large fixed width elements. See, he has given, for example, if image is displayed with, yeah, I said now horizontal scrolling is not allowed. So see here, he has given the horizontal scrolling because no user want to scroll horizontally. See, when I convert this into, See, I will be scrolling vertically, not, I don't want to scroll horizontally. If you scroll horizontally, that gives a bad impression to the user. Basically, it's pretty hard to see for horizontal scrolling for different images. Basically, you don't want the scroll bar to be much wider. If it is somewhat, you can scroll, but you should see that it fits the screen size. For all the screen sizes, it should fit at the center part. There is a CSS tag called center, align center. You can use some elements for it, right? Something like that. Responsive design. Okay, what they are, wireframe. We have completed media. Okay, with media queries, I will explain more in I will use some W3 CSS to tell you these media queries. Okay, wireframe we have completed. Breakpoints is something I have said. Using multiple media queries to apply to multiple CSS styles is breakpoint. I think you have understood how the responsive design should look in the CSS part. Like you can see, I have created this based on somewhat responsive design. I need to more work on because I need time. See what the navbar has closed the elements to the center. Yeah, if I expand this, because I have written some media queries, so to make it different in different screen resolutions. See, even the carousel slider is vanishing up. For small screen resolutions, in order to load multiple images, it takes time. So what I have done is remove this carousel slider. See, for the larger which it will be showing up, for the smaller which it is not showing up, and it is also scaling up. Okay, you need to think of these differences. See here, it is showing only one card at a time, but if I increase the structure, it is going to change 3 cards. This is somewhat responsive design because I have used something called bootstrap gridding. Okay, this wireframe structure will be given already by the bootstrap, that is called grid structure. There will something called as grid. First of all, we need to know how the grid works. Basically, these parts of it is called columns. This whole part is called grid. Whole part of this is called grid, and each part of this divs you can call it as fall in terms of bootstrap gridding. Bootstrap gridding. Okay. Have you got some idea about responsive design? We will see with some examples on how to make this responsive design. Basically, we will be using percentages for responsive design. Okay, we will see one example for this responsive design also. Okay, responsive design. Okay, CSS responsive. See, it is popping up me media queries. That means responsive design is media queries. You can think of like that. Okay, here he has given you some of the responsive features. I have said already like this structure. See, the basically the parts everyone has to say the same because the content is the same. It doesn't change. HTML and CSS have the same structure, so it doesn't change over tells you. You just need to know that it exists and use it. See, these elements are showing something like this at the side part. In this phone part, it is showing something like full width. It is coming up. You need to design something like this. See, he has given the viewport part also. We need to think of this viewport feature also into consideration. Grid view, yeah, gridding, something called a grid view. As I said, wireframing. You can think of the wireframing as also some part of gridding. But in order to use this grid, he will be using C percentages. He defined this grid in terms of percentages so that it can increase depending upon the screen resolutions. Okay, media queries. Using media queries, we can define for multiple breakpoints. You can think of it as 500 pixels as one breakpoint, as 480 pixels as one breakpoint, depending upon the different screen resolutions. Okay, responsive images. If you use width as 100%, you will get responsive images. responsive videos, responsive frameworks. If you use responsive framework, Bootstrap is a responsive framework. So that's why it's become very famous. And we can use responsive templates also that are predefined. There are many W3 CSS is a responsive framework. Basically what he does, we'll see the CSS W3 CSS responsive, how he defines the responsive framework. Yeah, I'm going to beautify this code. The thing that happens responsive is, see here, this is the responsive structure that he has used, something called, first of all what he is doing, that he will be assigning that will be 100%. For any device you want to occupy your width to be 100%. You need to understand that for any device we want to occupy our width to 100%. That's why he is giving. But okay, for first of all he will think of the different screen resolutions. Okay, I will show you how the Bootstrap did tomorrow. I think jQuery part, and day after tomorrow, but we can see the Bootstrap reading structure. I'll close all the elements. Okay, this is also great resource for you to learn the basic parts. See, there is something called flexbox. Depending upon the flexibility, like depending upon the screen size, the flexbox flex means it will be boxing upon flex. It will be flexible box. What happens is it can float to the right, it can float to the left depending upon the screen resolutions. Flexbox means resizable box. If a box can be resizable, it can be treated as flexbox. Sorry for the most of this is concept part. Once you understand the concept, you can get hang of it, and we can move to the examples by making multiple examples on it. But the concept is important. If you are unable to make use of the concept, okay, I think someone is blocking. I will see whether it comes or not. Bootstrap tutorial, Bootstrap gridding system. Yeah, you can see this is the basic grid structure that he has. This example is showing the grid structure. See all the elements. Basically, he will think of all the possible elements for the grid structure. Basically, you can create 12 elements of size single S1. Call S1. For call S2, there will be some particular size resolution. I will show in the W3 CSS. Verify the code. See, this is the structure that is he is basically doing what he's doing with that. I will take a calculator and show you. He will be using some calculations. Think of the width size as 100%. If I has 100% and if I need to make 12 boxes of small sizes, what I will be using is 100 by 12. I'll be using something called 8.33%. So one box of this size will be 8.33% and it will be flexible. Yeah, are you able to understand? One point of this box will be flexible depending upon if you give 8.33%. Basically, you can basically they have thought and seen like how many boxes can we keep and what are the highest resolution. Basically, you can create your own structure, but this is the best structure that they have defined by trying out all the possibilities. Okay, like they have given for call sizes this much column. For if this is of call size x1, call size x2, call size x4, call size x5, we'll be using this call size class. Basically dot means class. If you use this class repeatedly, we can create multiple div boxes. If you okay, we'll see an example regarding this, but how he has defined basically something like this. Now I want 6 boxes. How to define 6 boxes by 100? Okay, deleting it, clearing up. I will be creating 6 boxes for the whole width. It's not 100 by 6. Okay, if you see 100 by 6, I think, yeah, it is 100 by 6 only, because he is dividing the whole width of the 100% into 6 boxes, so he is giving a width of 16.66%. And next, if you want 3 boxes, 100 by 3, it is 33.3%. I think you know that. Something like this. If you want 5 boxes, 100, we need to think of it as 100%, because percentage only is a responsive design. Yeah, you something you are getting. See, fall S5. It is fall S5 means there will be some other design like 1 by 2. You will be using some. There is a half of it. You will be taking it off, 2 halves or something like that. So he has calculated for all the design structures for the width, and he has created a structure. We'll be using this call size, and we'll be creating some responsive design. So these boxes will be responsive means depending on the screen width, this width percentage is calculated. If you use this call width in S9, for small resolution it will be showing small box. For large resolution it is showing small box. And he also defined some media queries here. See, for 601 pixels he is showing some this part will be same, but the percentage will be differ depending upon. For smaller resolutions he will be, if you want only one box, he will be defining other boxes like only one box by 100 by 1, that is 100%, like 8%. Depending upon the media queries, multiple media queries and multiple sizes, we can think of it as breakpoint and multiple media queries, right? Okay, I think you got some understanding about this flex boxes, grid structure, wireframe. The part I have seen you, this is the wireframe structure. You can think of it. Basically, it is a wire, something it looks like wire, so it is called wireframe. Okay, breakpoints means creating multiple media queries. Understanding responsive design, I think you have understood how the responsive design works. Fluidic measurements means it should be responsive. If this box is there, if I resize it, it should be, all the elements inside the box should be inside the box only. It should not flow outside the box. Fluidic means generally fluid takes the shape of the container. So if the container is small, then the fluid also will be small. If the container is large, the fluid also should be large. Something like that, right? If the the elements that are inside the fluid always take the shape of the container, right? That is called fluidic measurements. Media queries, yeah. Wireframe, yes. Breakpoint. We haven't discussed about introduction to JavaScript part. What is the difference between JavaScript object and JSON object, and how to define a JavaScript object and a JSON object. These parts are left over, and I haven't shown you how and where JSON object is using it. Okay, I'll be showing you these parts of it. Colleges, do you have any questions or something like that? If you have any questions, you can ask me up. I want to interact with the colleges, but I think there are some leftover concepts. I want to talk the mentors, talk to the students, whether what they need, whether they need live examples like what I have been doing in the recent projects. I want to show them the code where I have used the HTML and how I created this responsive design. I want to know what the colleges are thinking of. I want to interact with the colleges so that we can improve the session's content, as well as you can learn something from this, so it makes something most of the different session. Okay. uh, First of all, I will define you what is the difference between HTML and JavaScript. No, something called JSON and JavaScript object. I have already written somewhere. I'll share that part. JavaScript. Okay. Yeah. Can you explain fluidic measurements? Okay, I will show you the fluidic measurements because of the time being. I think JavaScript is more important. The fluid measurements will be coming on automatically in the box model. I will explain you the fluid measurements. There is nothing in the fluidic measurements. What you do is apply the percentage, if you apply the width or to some percentage, the box will be changing automatically to the width. And inside elements also, you should be more like percentage. You should use the font. For the font sizes, you will be using EM, responsive structures, instead of using pixels. And you will be using something called overflow. You will be using elements like not to overflow the elements. Okay, KKR and KSR. Okay, I will explain in details later. Okay, anybody wants another things? First of all, I want to explain how to create a JavaScript object. I think I have shown you an array object of JavaScript. Sorry, I have shown you the array object. Okay, but I have shown you how the Java JSON object looks. Can anybody tell me what is the difference between a Java object and a JSON object? I think morning I have said some few lines about JavaScript object and JSON object. Any college? Any student? Yeah, am I going a little bit faster? Yeah, since this is the first session, so I think I'm going a little faster, a little bit slower. You can tell me up so that I can reduce my speed. I want to pick up because we have lesser time. I think most probably if you want to cover all these parts, 12 days won't be necessary. Around 3 to 4 months, you need to be sitting up around 3 to 4 months and see each individual element, how it is made and how to resize it. Then you will getting some understanding about the structures. So you need to work upon. I'm giving an introduction and giving you some understanding so that you can start upon and use these structures. Java is an object-oriented programming language. I'm not asking about Java object. I'm asking about JavaScript object and a JSON object. Both are the Java objects itself, but JavaScript object has some properties, and Java JSON object. I'm not talking about Java. JSON and JS object. JSON and JS object. Any college? Okay, try is good. You will be getting something out of it. If you try, you will be recollecting your elements. That's a good part. You can type any randomly. Any college? No answer. What is the difference between JSON is a pure object-oriented program? No, no, it is not a program. And pure object-oriented program. I'm saying JSON is an object, JavaScript object notation. It is said as JavaScript object notation. Java has the properties of who? I'm not asking about the Java part. I'm asking about JavaScript object and the JSON object. JSON, not even JSON object. We call it as JSON. Any other college? I think you haven't experienced the JSON of JSON, right? Any college knows JSON? Does they have JSON? JSON is quite a popular now. Morning I have said, can you make why Sri Prakash? Can you tell me the reason? Tech JavaScript is an object-oriented programming language. Okay, programming language. You don't need to say the language. It is object-oriented. Okay, okay. Tech is here. I want the JSON object. What does the difference comes in Java object and JSON object? One difference is enough. That what makes the JSON objects more special compared to Java object. Nowadays, JSON object is quite popular. In our projects, we are all using JSON objects. JSON objects makes what called a REST structure. REST structure is going like viral, pretty viral. Every company, even the Facebook, Flipkart, every company is going to use the REST structure, something like it. So I'm more stressing on JSON object, right? Okay, I will tell you the difference between the Java object and JSON object. Okay, here I have already written difference between JS object and JSON. Can you read it? Colleges, are you able to understand what is there? Side ones to read. VVIT. Yeah. This is pretty important part you need to know. The JS difference between JS and JSON object. This is going to be pretty awesome once I show you the real-time example of the JSON that I am using up. Yeah, here comes the most important tricky part. It's a language independent. What happens when you have a language independent object? Any college? What happens when you have a language independent object? We have many languages like PHP, Java, .NET. We have Python. Yeah, VB script. Other languages. What happens if we have a language independent object? Any student? Any college? Yeah, we can write in any language. Yeah, the basic thing is that no, we can't write in any language. The thing is we can convert it into any language. Once you have a language independent object, basically HTML, CSS and JavaScript are browser independent, they can be saying, or you can say device independent. What happens is language independent and device independent are two important concepts you need to understand. Why Java become so popular is that because of its uh, dependency, independency. Okay, instead of saying dependency, language independent. What makes it language independent is even the PHP people can use this JSON object, even the Java people can use this JSON object, even the .NET people can use the JSON object. It is possible in any language. Okay, yeah. Basically, you can convert into any language. This object can be converted into any language, but we won't be converting. Mostly, since I am using Java, basically, I will be converting the JSON object into Java object, and also the Java object into JSON object. If some structure, if you are building a website and you are using to populate your data in terms of JSON object, it is called REST-based structure. Basically, there are two types of independent, that is XML as well as language independent elements are two, XML as well as this JSON. Previously, there used to be the XML objects, but XML objects are more complex and it is very hard to understand. So what they have done, they have created a JavaScript object notation that is language independent, which is quite useful, and it sorry, and it is independent of the structure. Okay, let's see. It can executed at any OS. Yeah, that's right, Vignan Nirala. It can be executed in any browser, any language, something like that. Basically, browser part. Okay, that's Tirumala Engineering College. We can convert it into any language. Is it possible? Yeah, it is portable. Okay. Yeah, it is an important part. Data can be stored in many ways. Here there, but if you should be stored in a text file and be readable by a computer, it needs to be follow some structure. JSON is one of the many formats that defines a such structure. Typically language independent, meaning that you can be processed by Java. That's what I said. JavaScript, PHP, you name it. You can name it any language you want. It is a global property. See prototype. I have morning in the JavaScript object. You will be seeing some property called prototype. It is a global property which is available with almost all the objects. Okay. And in the responsive design, I have explained about this. Okay, I'll be uh, showing you CSV. Yeah, CSV also good, but you can't make it use of it. YAML, yeah, YAML is somewhat better, but JSON is quite popular compared to all this. Okay, better. I think if you can see an example, my server is running up. Uh, Okay, this is the recent project I've been doing in Java. I'm giving you a real-time example of how I'm using this JSON object. I'm building this structure for the recent website I have been showing here. In the web part, I'm been using these HTML elements: about us page, circle stats, contact us page. What I are trying to do, basically, when you see our index page, you don't be seeing all the content in the index page. Basically, you will be seeing all the JS part and basically all the CSS part. Other than that, you don't see inside the body part. You will be seeing some jQuery. See, jQuery is quite popular, and we are using something our own JS. Yeah, you can see here the body part doesn't consist of all the elements here. What is happening is we'll be loading the other elements using jQuery. Means we are creating a templating structure. Basically, here I have created a template that consists of both the navbar as well as footer. See, this is all the CSS that I have written for the navbar and the footer. This is the home div. The topmost part you seeing. Okay, I will show you live example of lively. Yeah, APSD is a LMS learning management system. That's what is there in this project. Yeah, this is the part that is the nav header part. You can think of this div as the header part. Here I have created nav instead of div. You can see the nav bar. Like I have used some JS on click listeners. I have used morning. I have said about on click listeners. Okay, I have used a stylus called pointer. Since I am not using a tag, generally cursor pointer will does not show you this hand sign. In order to show you the hand sign, I have used something called cursor pointer, something like that. The carousel slider, this is the carousel slider I have kept for that. And basically what happens is in this div, my content will be loaded dynamically. This is called dynamic loading using jQuery. These are the most advanced concepts. I think depending upon the time I will be showing these concepts. This is the footer part. Even what parts do you have in this? You have this main header part, navbar part, this part. You don't have this part, and this part. These three parts doesn't have in this in the templating section. This will be loaded dynamically on these two onto these parts. See, even only the footer part. This part I will be hiding in all the pages because you don't need this part. These two parts are loading. This templating structure is common for all the tags. See, I am not writing some HTML. See, in this page, if you see, in the template page, it doesn't have any body element also. Only one body element will be there, that is in the index page. Body. Yeah, no string found. That means we don't have multiple body pages. That means I have created a template structure where we will be using this jQuery structure to load it into this container. I'm using a fluid container. Someone asked me about fluid. This is the bootstrap fluid container that I'm been using up. Yeah, I'm using something called Andromeda JS. This is private, so I can show you that. I'm using some functions. Yeah, are you able to understand? I'm using some CSS for the model pop-up box. What are the loading image that is showing? This is the loading image that I have been using, and I created a structure. First you need to define your web structure, like all the CSS files in one place, bootstrap, all the fonts. See, there are multiple fonts I am using, all the general, like carousel. If you have a carousel CSS, I have separated it. I have created multiple style sheets. Basically you will be having all these CSS elements. You'll be writing all this. Once you get a hang of it, you'll be writing all these elements. Okay, see, all the CSS pages are there, about us page. Basically you don't have writing. I am directly writing the div structure independent of what I am doing is I am loading this div based on class. I am in the previous page, I am loading this div in the class structure. Okay, right? And I have created login page, and here are the images. that I am loading. I have separately created the folders for each image. This structuring is pretty important for you to see in order to load all the pages. Yeah, scripts. Here the most concept scripts, Andromeda.js, file saver.js. I have some Excel readers for storing it in Excel. JS parts, mostly JS, there are many JS parts. So JS is playing an important role. We have been using Angular for that. For our dynamic content loading, we have been using Angular. Nowadays, Angular is becoming the quite popular thing. I think you need to learn Angular also. Colleges, any doubt? I want to show you the rest structure also. Yeah, where is the thing? Yeah, sorry. Uh, yeah, any doubts? Colleges, any doubts? See, in this angular.min.js, it is a minified version of Angular where you don't see any spaces. You don't need to understand this. It's just for after when you want to, there will be two types of JS, AngularJS, AngularMin.js. Similarly, you will be having W3.js or you will be having Bootstrap.js or BootstrapMin.js. This is a minified version of the page so that if a compiler has to read, it has to read from the starting line to the ending line, including all the spaces. It will be taking the time. Basically, we want to load our web page to be faster. So in order to make it faster, we need to reduce the white spaces of it. So you need to get a hang of it. So we'll be minifying. There are some minifying online minifiers which after you can write it and minify it and keep the separate files. While uploading, you can use the minified code, right? If you see it, you will be getting your hair thrilled like how the code is here. Yeah. Okay, Tirumala Engineering College. Uh, when I get hyperactive, I will become faster. Okay, I will become a little bit slow. This just I'm giving an overview of how I'm using the structure in the real time. Like I'm using the jQuery, I'm using the HTML, I'm using this elements. Basically, this is Java part. I can't teach you in this, but I can show you how we are using the JSON part. We are using something called a REST structure. See, it is not showing up here, but in Spring Boot it will be showing up, right? Okay, I will show you the counts that I am loading dynamically in the form of Rex. Okay, statistics. This is the course count. Okay, I'll be opening a new private page, localhost 3030/edx reports course details. Instead of course details, I want course statistics. Yeah, it is returning something like an object. This is a JSON object that we are using it and we are loading into HTML using Angular. Yeah, do you like it? It's pretty awesome thing. If you see the largest parts of it, it will be like some hundreds of pages of lines where the JSON object will be loaded, and it is easy to load this as JSON object. Instead of web.xml will be something like this structure length big of the whole page, it will be occupying for this small line. See where I am getting these values, how I am loading it into. See here the one colleges 157. Here the courses, how many courses are there. Here how many students are there. See how, yeah, you are getting how many courses. You see like I'm loading the counts. No, it's not about that count. I think this is the count. Yeah, in the computer science we have 22 courses, so I'm loading this in the JSON. Yeah, CSC, where the CSC, it is showing 22. Yeah, I'm using the JSON object and load it into that HTML. Basically almost all big companies are now using the JSON object. You need to understand this JSON object. Okay, I'm going to take this JSON object and show you in the JavaScript, new JavaScript file. JavaScript, this concept is pretty good if you understand it. I'm going to show you, this is a minified, you can think of it as minified one. See, this is an array of objects that is going to populate. See how the structure is. It will be a nice and quite a good structure. See, we have something called a response object. We are converting the Java object and showing something like this. If he has an error, we will be prompting something out here. If it is successful, we are showing that something is true. This is a request object. Okay, we can bind both the request object as well as response object, but the request object is null because it is a response object. Because while creating structure, we will be creating only one object, and it contains both the request and as well as the response object. And I am creating this response object has elements, basic elements, that is CAC, EC, civil, mechanical, and CRT. This is a JSON structure. This is the open brace and close brace. Okay, how is this JSON? Is it good? Any comments? Uh, Colleges, are you listening up? Time is running out. You need to tell me whether, yeah. What is happening is I am here sending an request and it is giving me a response. This is called a response object. This is a request part. I've been showing up. How do you like that? Did you like that in the real time example? This is a basic project that I've been doing in the recent 4 days. Yeah, it has many elements that I haven't talked about, and there are other projects, but I won't show. I'll show you later, depending upon the type. Any feedback, colleges? Do you like it, this class? Yeah, it is JSON. That's what I am stressing more on JSON, because it is the JSON object that I am showing you output. Because a JavaScript object is a dependent object, whereas a JSON object is independent object. So we are using JSON object instead of Java object. So I will also show you how to create a Java object in the JavaScript, JSON object in the JavaScript part. Okay. It is pretty easy to create a JSON object in the JavaScript part. If you want, we can see it. If the colleges want, I think you have to write the LMS exam. Execution. Right, college? Execution means what? Like what you want the execution part. Since I have tested that project, it is also, I'm running something called a Tomcat container. This is a Tomcat 7 I'm using. This is a local host server. This is my local server I'm been using up. It is a Java based server. I need okay, kite, okay, you want to create, okay, I will create one JSON object and show you how to create a JSON object. It is pretty easy to create a JSON object and print it in the console. Otherwise, there are many examples out there. I'll be showing you in the W3 schools. Okay, JSON. Okay, JavaScript object notation is a lightweight data interchange format, easy to use, human to read and write, machine to pass and get passed. Okay, something like that. JSON. We can see W3 schools is providing a lot of content about this. Yeah, you can take off this part. Okay, I will explain you how the JSON object will look. Okay, I am closing this part now. Cancel. I will clear the structure. Yeah, any colleges want to talk, like you want more real-time examples, or you want to see, more understanding of this concept what I am teaching, or you want to spend more time on some other elements, like if you are poor in some other elements you want to learn, you can talk to me in the chat, as well as you can post me up in the forums. In LMS we are creating forums, we can talk it there. Okay, okay. Execution, first of all I'm creating a var and I'm creating something called, okay, JSON object. I'm creating a variable called JSON object. uh, Recently I have copied some text, right? Okay, first of all what you need to do is create a open brace and close brace. I am creating a Java JSON object. I'm creating, okay. Generally the JSON object has two parameters. One is left property. The left property, basically you will be using double quotes colon double quotes. No, double quotes colon again. This will be the structure. Each element looks something like this. If it is not an array, basic element should look something like this. Like I can say class equal to UI, something like this. Profession, I can create something called a variable called profession. Profession equal to developer. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, this is the JSON object. And you can create an array also inside of a JSON. You can create something array like response array, and again you will be using something open brace and close brace of this, something again this open brace and close brace. Yeah, and again you will be creating copying this structure, and we will be creating something similarly more internal will be coming up. Yeah, okay, I can show you the execution part also. JSON syntax. Okay, I will show you the JSON syntax. Yeah, something like this: left property and the right property. Left property will define the labels, right property will define the values. This is a quite a good structure you need to understand. Colleges, are you able to hear this? Yeah, string. Yeah, I'm passing something similar to like this: variable person equal to name John, age equal to 31, city equal to New York. I'm copying this. I will be showing you in the this part. Yeah, that would be better. Console, copy it. Yeah, now what I do is I will be copying this variable. What is happening is this JSON object is binded to that variable. I am printing that object. Yeah, it is coming as object. You can see it is a JSON object. JavaScript object doesn't have these properties like this. Something most see, it is showing you the properties: age equal to 31, city equal to New York, name equal to JSON. Yeah, are you able to understand Kite College? This is the basic part. You can create multiple arrays inside each element and subarrays and subarrays. It will go on the structure depending upon how you want your JSON object. Okay, colleges, are you able to understand? Okay, thank you. Okay, that's all for today. I want to talk to with the colleges. Are you able to understand the concepts, or you want more examples, or you want more theory part to understand it? And okay, Tirumala College. Okay, you can write the exam on the LMS. I think I have posted some 10 questions. It's not okay. You will be testing some questions. Basically, you know or not. You can attend and test your knowledge. Okay. Yeah, I'll be there up to. Is the session up to 4:30? 4 o'clock, I think, right? 2 to 4. Colleges, any questions? If the student has any questions, let me know. I want to know whether they have many doubts, like how to use the structures, where I am using. I have already shown you all the parts. More of Flexbox, someone has asked, I will be showing you that in the Bootstrap part. Bootstrap covers almost all the parts, but I need time to explain all the components. So I'll be explaining the most important parts rather than all the components. I'll be showing you the usage of repeated parts instead of showing you all the non-used elements. Okay. Around I need to spend nearly 4 months to teach all you from the basic part if I need to teach you. And even it's been quite a long time I haven't been used the smaller components. So even I need to learn for some time in order to get these parts. The lower parts become easier once you able to understand the higher and higher parts, right? Once the web page developed, when we fill the web page, it requires database or not to store. Uh, so once the web page developed, and when we fill the web page, sorry, Kite, I wasn't able to understand your. It requires database or not to store data. No, what we are trying to do is basically we are bringing the data from the database and converting it in. Generally, a Java based development will have a Java object. Generally, a Java based development will have a Java object, and we will be sending the Java object as response. But instead of sending it as Java object, sending it as JavaScript object. Yeah, yes, it requires to store the data in the database. Whatever the data I have shown you, it is from the database itself, but it is we are taking dynamically the request when I have called here some request, like I have passed. It is called a controller where we will be sending the request to the database to collect the data and send it back in the form of JSON object. JSON is just a format. It is not something to store. Yeah, you can store the JSON objects also. There is something called MongoDB, where we will be storing the JSON objects in the form of in the whole thing as JSON objects. Generally, it is used for monitoring things. Even our Redux has many databases like MongoDB. It has MySQL. It has. Currently, I am loading the data from the MySQL, not from MongoDB. Please send the important or key points on the daily session that the mentors, then we can learn and practice. Okay, Tirumala College. Like I want specifics, like I want this and I want this. If you want, if I need to send all the elements, it takes a lot of time for me to sit on. So send me some specifics so that I can place it on, so that you can learn and practice. Okay, basically this is a UI session, so I will be teaching you all the UI parts. Once you get a hang of it, UI is the least you could learn because it is the easiest part. You can all the colleges you can conduct if there is an test on LMS. I think it is already posted. There are 10 questions in the LMS part. We are trying to make use of the LMS. LMS is basically an edX structure that we have built it up. Okay, so use it up, and we will be monitoring you and improvising it up so that we can know how the feedback is coming, what are the different data sets, and we will be improvising more our classes. Okay, send me the more feedback so that I can improve all the elements. Okay, that's all for today. Have any doubts? Please feel free to post so that I can learn new things from you also. Are there any doubts regarding the? I haven't explained, I think, JSON object, see Java object. Sorry, I'm getting this common part. Huh? Okay. Session. Okay, Tirumala College. Okay, the HTML parts I have stored in my laptop. I will be sending you that. Okay. Basically, the most of the parts I have taken from. Okay, I will send you in the LMS. I will post. Basically, it takes some time because I have to sit. This is the first session, so it takes some time. This is the first time I have been taking, and I don't know all the LMS front end part. I've been doing in the back end part, so I need to take some time and post it on the LMS. I'll be posting the videos also. Okay. Thank you, Tirumala Engineering College. I want to know the students' feedback. How? Okay. Thank you. I want to know the students' feedback. Whether are they are satisfied with the concepts, or they want more concepts, or they want slower. I know most of them has sent me to make this session slower, but time is running up, so I'm making it faster and faster because we have only 12 days and I have to teach. This is the basics part, and the largest parts are there with more elements. It takes more time. Okay, you can learn more in the more larger sessions. Basically, you will get some understanding with this if you have that they want recording session videos. Okay, KKR and KSR. Tomorrow I will be uploading. By tomorrow evening, you will be getting the recorded sessions. You can repeat it and you can understand it. It's good. Continue with the same pitch. Okay, thank you, Tirumala Engineering College. For concept. What concept? I need specifics. If you one more example, you want all the examples. Okay, thank you. We need like especially you want something about a single concept, or you want for all the elements you want some another example to the concept. Okay, one example for one concept you are saying. Okay. uh, okay, I will try my level best to make one example for one concept. Are there any sessions more? Any feedback? So give me a sample explanation or RWD. RWD? What is RWD? Responsive web design. Okay, shortcut. Okay, okay. Responsive web design. Okay. Example. CR ready. Okay. What I do is I will collect all the examples from different websites and place those links in the handout section of the LMS so that you can view those examples. Since I am taking the examples at a random from different websites and showing you. Mostly I am taking from the W3 CSS, but I will improve that. Okay, CR ready. Thank you. For alert, one example like this. Uh, okay, kite, thank you. UTF-8, what is UTF-8? It is a universal, some format structure. Generally, in Java, we have something called Unicode. Yeah, Unicode format. Basically, different formats we'll be using like ASCII format, UTF-8. UTF-8 is one of such formats to write the content. Basically, web also has some formats. UTF-18 is one of such formats. Okay. Are there any doubts? Are you able to do any basic web page? Okay, thank you. Right. Okay, it is 4-2. If you want any queries, you can send me. Or that's all for today. You have any feedback from the student side as well as the mentor side? I need both. I want to improve this. I want to use this session because this is my first session, and I don't know whether many sessions will come or not. But you have to make use of it. Since I am a developer, I'm going to teach you from the developer's perspective. Because teachers generally a teacher's perspective and developer's perspective is something very different. So I'm teaching you from the developer's perspective so that you can learn. Yeah. Generally, you don't need to learn the coding; you just need to understand it. You just need to understand it and copy and paste it. Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? Or that's all for today. You can write. Students can write the questions on the LMS. Thank you. I can. Are there any leftovers? Okay, KKR and Kessar, sir, can you tell me which topics will cover tomorrow session? Yeah, I can tell you that. Already we have, you don't have this UI development. I'll follow this link in the chat box. KKR and KSR, check once whether you are able to get open this link. Check once, are you able to open this link and see so that you can use this, which concept we are having up and you can learn. Okay, thank you. Any colleges other than this, you have any questions? Tomorrow, basically, I think more on JavaScript. Yeah, basically, we have completed almost all the JavaScript concepts. We haven't completed operators, something like that. Yeah, some basic normal concepts. Basically, the object notation is very important. Object structures. What are the different objects I have shown? And I haven't shown the functions that are in the objects. Okay, tomorrow I'll show you the functions. Okay, thank you.